In the last video, we spoke about the two types of gradients you can add and use in CSS. Today, we will learn how to style text and images in our web pages. To start with this tutorial, I've decided to demonstrate it by building a simple website. I will start by writing the header tag. And we use the header tag as a container containing introductory elements to our web page. Then I'll create the main tag. And inside this main tag comes the content of our web page, or it represents the main content of our web page. At last, we have the footer, where you'll basically add links to your other websites, affiliate products, put a table of content to help the user choose which section in your document to go back. Why we use them? Well, it helps search engines find and understand your content to rank it on search results. Inside the header, I'm gonna start by adding an h1 and I'm gonna say cat shop. Let's pretend that we have a cat shop. Of course, I'm gonna add a class for this h1. It's going to be h1. Now let's go ahead and style this tag. I'm gonna go ahead in CSS, I'm gonna say .h1, I'm gonna say this color will be red, and right now I want to change the font size. What I can do is I could just write font size. Right now I'm gonna specify a pixel value. I'm gonna say 60 pixels. Next I want to change the font type. If you have ever used Microsoft Word, you know that you can change the font type, right? We can go ahead and do the same thing over here. I'm gonna say font family, and we have some values to choose, but what I'm gonna choose is Tahoma. So the font type of H1 will be Tahoma. But maybe the browser didn't load this font. What I will do is I'm going to specify an alternative font and I'm going to be sans serif. So basically, if the first font Tahoma didn't load, the second font or the alternative font will load, which is sans serif. Now I want to italicize this text. What I can do is I'm going to say font style and I'm going to specify italic, which means italicize this text. So I'm going to write it italic. Of course, we can use the I tag in HTML, but let's do it right over here. Next, I want to align this text to the center. How? Well, it's very easy. All we need to do is write text align. What I want is, I want to center it. I'm going to write center. And right now, my text is actually centered. Next, I'm going to just underline the text by using the text decoration property. I'm going to say underline. As you can see, our cat shop is well centered. The font is Tahoma. It is 60 pixel large, underlined and italicized. Let's go back to our HTML and add an introductory paragraph just to explain what this website offers. So this is the introductory paragraph. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna emphasize the cat shop, which is our website's name. I'm gonna emphasize it by using the em tag. Like this, I'm gonna go ahead in my browser and there it is. I'm gonna go ahead in CSS. I'm gonna go ahead and write .p. I'm gonna increase the font size. Now instead of pixels, I could use values. I could say extra large, large, double X large, extra small, small, and so on. I'm gonna say for now, extra large. There it is, DP increased in size. I guess I'm gonna lower the size a bit. But for now, I'm just gonna use extra large. And now let's change the font family. It will be sans serif. So sans serif. Now I have a better idea. Let's wrap the cat shop inside a link. So instead of em, I'm gonna delete it and go ahead and wrap it up inside a link. And inside href, make sure to add the link of your website. I'm gonna say target equal to blank, and now I'm gonna specify a class. It will be pet shop link. And of course, I'm gonna close the anchor tag right over here. As you can see, we have our link right over here. It's a pressable link. And of course, we have our p tag. Now we can add amazing pseudoselectors on links. So I'll say dot pet shop link. I'm gonna say hover. And the color will change to, let's say, red. So whenever you hover on this link, it will change the color to red. I'm gonna add another pseudoselector. I'm gonna say pet shop link active. And the color, let's say, will change to black. Okay, so the moment I hover on the link, it will change color to red. And the moment I press on it, it will change the color to black. So this is the active pseudoselector and this is the hover one, okay? Inside the main, I will add the h2 tag. I'm gonna say it will have the class of h2. And inside of it, I'm gonna write cat section. After it, I'm gonna add a simple p element and write a simple phrase. And put this p element inside a class called inMain. So it all starts with offering your cat what it wants, right? And right now, let's go ahead and add a list describing what we offer for cats or for cat owners. I'm gonna say ul over here. I'm gonna add a simple phrase. I'm gonna say what we offer. So what we offer, I'm gonna add 3 lists. Of course, using the le tag, I'm gonna copy paste them 2 times, so 1 and 2. And so this is what we offer: lasagnas, cooked meat and fish, accessories and treats for cats. How about adding this UL inside a class called UL? Now I'm gonna add a image right after this UL. I'm gonna say image class equal to img, and the source will be from my folder 2, so source, and I have this cat on sofa.jpg image, so I'm gonna write it cat on sofa. Okay, simple. We have the cat section. It all starts with offering what your cat wants. This is the list and this is the image. Now I'm gonna go ahead and delete this phrase. Let's start by styling the h2. So I'm gonna go right over here. I'm gonna say .h2, and what I want to do is I'm gonna copy all the property of h1 and go ahead and paste it right over here. What I'm gonna do different is I'm gonna change the font size and the text aligned to center. I want it to be left. What means left is it will stay on the left side of the page. But the only problem is that we're wasting lines, right? We have same values for h1 and h2. What I can do is I could go ahead and add a comma right over here. I'm gonna say .h2, and I'm gonna group them together because they have the same property and values. What they have different is the font size. So I'm gonna delete this. I'm gonna delete the text align. I'm gonna keep those over here. I'm gonna go ahead also and delete this. Now these property and values are same for h1 and h2. What I'm gonna do different is I'm gonna say .h1, specify a font size. It was 60 pixels, and a text align which was center, right? Now I'm gonna go for the .h2, and I'm gonna say font size 45 pixel and text align left. Now we can by not add the text align left. I just want to offer you different options. As you can see, nothing changed to the h1, but what changed to the h2 is everything that we offered it from h1 except the font size and the text alignment. Now what I'm gonna add extra to the h2 is a border. I'm gonna say border, and this border will be a 3 pixel solid red border. Now I'm gonna add a border radius, and this border radius will be, let's say, around 20 pixels. As you can see, this is the border on my h2. It is a solid 3 pixel red border with a 20 pixel radius. Now I'm gonna decrease the width of this border by using the width property, and let's say the width will be 400 pixels. And I guess that's not enough. Let's go ahead and put it 300 pixels. And yes, that is better at least. Of course, you have other values than solid. Where's the solid one? There's this. You have other than solid. You can add dashed and you can add double. Now go ahead and test it on your own, but I will keep it for me solid red 3 pixel. So what I'm gonna go ahead and do is I'm gonna go to this .p1 element, put a comma, and I'm gonna say dot in main, because this p element has a class of in main, right? And because I want these same property and value for this in main p tag, I'm gonna put a comma after the .p1. And there it is, they have the same font size and font family. Now I'm gonna style my list, and I'm just gonna write the .ul class. I'm gonna increase the font size to, let's say, extra large, and there it is. But the only problem is that this image is too big. But as you remember, this image has a class of img. I'm gonna go ahead and say .img, and let's say I'm gonna decrease the width of this image. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna say width. This width will be 500 pixel. The height, let's say, will be 350 pixel. There it is, the image decreased in size. Now I'm gonna teach you another property. This property called float. As with text, we use text align to move them to the center, left, or right. Here we use float to move them to the left and right. To center an image, we use other than float. We use margins, but we're not gonna talk about them today. I'm gonna say right. As you can see, it will go to the right side of my HTML document. Now I'm gonna add a border. This time the border will be a 5 pixel dashed, and it will be black. Border radius, it will be around 10 pixel. That's a 5 pixel dashed black border, of course with a radius of 10 pixel. Now I'm gonna add a horizontal line after this UL, and I was thinking of adding the image after H2. I'm gonna cut it and put it after H2. Now with this space available for us over here, I'm gonna use or add my footer. Now let's go to the footer side. I'm gonna add a class for this footer, and it will be footer. Now whenever you arrive to the footer and you want to style the elements inside a footer, the best thing to do in CSS is use a comment and write footer like this. Now a comment in CSS is basically text that is not rendered by your browser. Now why do we write footer right over here in CSS? Well, we use it to basically separate the code in CSS What comes after this comment is all the elements inside the footer. This footer element acts like a container. It's like a div. You know that we can style a div, we can do the same thing for a footer. I can go ahead in my files.css, I'm going to say dot footer, okay? The width will be 950 pixel and the height will be 200 pixel. Now I'm going to add a background color of RGBA 0000.3. And there it is. This is my section or my footer, let's say. And inside this gray background, I'm gonna add my footer elements. So inside my footer, I want to add my social media links. So I will say P, and I will add them right over here inside this P element. But first, I'm gonna add it inside a class called inFooter. So there it is, Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. Of course, they are inside a anchor tag because they are links. And now if I want to go ahead and start this P element, all I need to do is, because I want it to be same as the others, I'm gonna add the comma over here and say inFooter or dot inFooter. And there it is. I also want these links to become like this link. So when I hover on it and when I press on it, it changes colors. So easy. I'm gonna go ahead to my file.css and do the same thing. So before hover, I'm gonna add a comma and say A. Because they are not inside a class, I'm gonna use the anchor tag as a element selector. As you can see, they have the same functionalities as this link. Now I'm gonna add here, follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and so on. It will be better. And at the end, I want to add a small form where the user will input their email and password. So easy. I'm gonna go ahead and add it inside a field set. This field set will contain a legend, and this legend will say, want to contact us. Now after this legend will come my HTML form. I'm gonna say or use the big tag, and I'm gonna say input your email. I'm gonna close the big tag, and right now I'm gonna say input type, and the input type will be an email. After this, I'm gonna add a break tag. Next, I'm gonna say the same thing. Well, what I can do is I could just copy this one and paste it 2 times because I need the password of there. I'm gonna say instead of input your email, I'm gonna say password. Instead of the type email, it will be a password. Now after the break tag, I'm gonna add the button, and this button will be the submit button. I'm gonna add this button inside a class called button. So this is my field set. This is the legend of my field set. Input your email, input your password, and there's this button over here which says submit. Now I'm gonna style this submit button to make it more better and interactive. Let's go to file.css. I'm gonna say right over here dot button. Now what I'm gonna do to this button is first I'm gonna increase the width. The width, let's say, will be 200 pixels. Now the height, let's say, will be 50 pixels. And now the background color, let's change it to RGB 0, 0, 0, and 0.5. Now I'm gonna add a pseudoselector for this button. I'm gonna say, and I've got the hover one, so the pseudoselector will be hover, and it will change background color to red. And let me change the text color to white. There it is, so when I hover on it, it will change to red. Amazing. Alright, this is it on how to style images and text in CSS. So we basically covered a lot of things today and built this simple cat shop website. I hope you enjoyed it and got some value from it. Make sure to subscribe and follow me along in the CSS tutorial. Now if you need to refresh your memory about HTML, make sure to check out this HTML and CSS playlist or check this crazy futuristic idea about the sky cruise.